Ms. Chitra Iyer, thank you so much for joining us on the CSR Journal. First, I would like to know about the activities your company is involved in.
Sure. Thanks, Neha, for having me over. Essentially, my financial advisor is a pure financial planning and wealth management company. Uh, the last 10 years, we've been fortunate to reach out to a lot of families and help them with their taking decisions, better decisions about their money. These are essentially successful people who are either business owners, top doctors, they are senior corporate employee, executives, they are NRIs, and we've been enriched because every single family we've met, it's been a fantastic learning for us to understand what people think about money, how do they go about planning for money, do they really know what to think about money. We have such a beautiful process in place that we're able to tell people what they should actually think about, what is goal based planning. These are concepts which are pretty absent in our industry today because it's completely cutthroat. The financial planning, financial services industry is pretty product based, and therefore there's a lot of selling that happens. And we are here to try and make a change there in the industry itself.
So, how do you redirect these investors or people who come to you to probably invest in activities that would do good on a social level?
So, as part of the first step, where we sit down with a family and we are trying to help them write down their, financial goals about, what do they think they need money for in life. Typically, people would talk about, first it's difficult to write down goals, but then once we help them there, then they are able to write down, I need money for maybe children, for myself, for a vacation, for a car, for a property, or whatever.
Where does the social aspect?
The social aspect is what we then, ask them. It's literally in the end. Very few people just are able to, say it out at first.
Correct.
But then we prompt them and ask them that, would you like to do something about giving back to society?
Correct.
And that's where people open up and talk about what they're already doing, if at all, or whatever is their wish.
So that's the client side of it. What do you do to involve employees into CSR?
Yeah, so we have a fantastic environment. We call our office the Happiness Factory. You must come see it someday. So the entire approach has been that you be happy and keep the environment stress free, and then you can see how the happiness just flows around to everyone. It seems very
contagious.
It is contagious. And as a team, we've participated every year in the marathon. And that is because of our association with Forum for Autism. It's an NGO, it's a parent support group, essentially set up by a bunch of mothers 12 years ago. I'm a trustee with the Forum for Autism, and its pure activity is to help out families of children with autism. So the ambassadors to the cause are Chef Sanjeev Kapoor and ace commentator Harsha Bogle.
Correct.
And both these people have been rallying around, and we as a team, along with them, reach out to everyone we know in our network and try to raise funds for Forum for Autism.
Have any corporates come to your aid?
Corporates come to the aid. So since we're dealing with private individuals,
but someone from the corporate side, on a philanthropic side of theirs.
Definitely. So, Sanjeev himself is the biggest corporate, if you were to say.
But he's a very good ambassador, of course. People know him. So, when he endorses something, there should be 10.
There are a lot of other people who definitely come in. In fact, just through social media, his Facebook page, and, we also help, in tweets or whatever to increase the impact. And yes, there are a lot of people who step in. Sadly, as Forum for Autism, when we've tried to reach out to companies to figure how best can we also let them know. So we have an agenda of what we need and what we're trying to do in the advocacy aspect, or trying to reach out to families who cannot afford in terms of educating a child, because education is very expensive when you have a special child. The cost could be anywhere between 10 to 20,000 per month. So then how does a family that can't earn that much, that doesn't earn that much, how do they afford the early intervention and the treatment of a child?
To learning centers or something that corporates have developed or set up for children with different abilities?
As of today, the facilities that are available for children with autism in Bombay and Maharashtra per se is by far very few.
Okay.
Very few government run institutions are there for autism, and the private ones are essentially parents themselves who have got trained and set it up.
Okay.
Okay, so the penetration is very, very low, and therefore we don't still have corporates who have actually set up something where we could direct our.
Have you approached any corporates to set this up?
It's a very interesting question that you asked. We've actually approached corporates to help us with what to do for our children when they are adults and what after us.
And what's the response you got?
So it's really tough. It's been pretty bad, and it's very tough for anybody to say yes there, I guess, because in India, when you decide to take up a cause, it is because something has happened to you.
Correct.
Unless it's happened to you,
You're not interested in it.
why would you even think about a cause? So, therefore, when people like Harsha or Sanjeev step in, and they have got nothing to do with autism, but they said yes very readily. Those are the kind of people that we're looking out for.
As part of this process, you are the middleman who probably visits these places and have people talking to, and then you approach corporates. So you being the middleman, what is the kind of problems do families or probably mothers tell you, on a very personal level of what they face when they have no help coming in?
Financially, right?
Financially and, emotionally also when their child has to go through so much.
So, for example, there's a family which is trying to relocate from the US, and we get these inquiries about, which is the school that is right for me. Okay, and for my child, and we have our database, and we going through that and asking them, so what kind of a school setup has your child been in, and where would you like to go? So now here we don't have a school that will readily take in a child who's diagnosed with autism.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Unless the child was already in the school, admitted at, and then it was diagnosed later. Then the principal at least has a kind of emotional thing and say that okay, I'll help you go through a particular level. So now we can't blame the school also because the school is not equipped to handle autism.
Correct.
We try to make our suggestions like from families who talk to us about I'll put a shadow teacher with the child.
Okay.
Can that help? At least let my child do a basic education. He is very keen on studying. I think he can have a academic future.
Do corporates actually feel like the way you do and actually come to your aid to make a difference? Or do you have other NGOs or smaller setups that have some funding and can take your cause forward?
So from the corporates that I have approached, essentially what I've been hearing is that we already are supporting a particular cause. Okay. Such as cancer or, say maybe education of the girl child or AIDS, whatever. The other thing that I often hear is that I will spend once. Okay. I won't do recurring expenditure. So I'm telling them that listen, when you donate to autism, that child needs your donation the year around.
Correct.
I'm talking about a 10,000 rupees per month fee that is required for the child the year round. If you give me a 10,000 once, that is a 1 month thing.
So don't you think after the mandate has come into the picture, there were some corporates who were not spending before that, but spending 2% of a very large bracket of profits, and they still cannot support this kind of activity? What do you got to say about
But this is a very personal call, right? Correct. For every single corporate.
Correct.
About what they want to do with their money and how they want to really give back to society. Okay. Here I want to just share that as Indians, when we think about the US and us, as a child, when you're in school, are you taught to volunteer? Are you taught to look out for somebody who is not as fortunate as you?
No, we're taught to take care of ourselves
first and always. Even when we talk about money, you're talking about how do I protect my next generation and generation after that.
Correct.
You're not talking about the less fortunate, and therefore you don't have that bent of mind itself where you're saying that listen, I know that this person may not be as he has some challenges, so I need to look out for them. So if that is ingrained in childhood, then that comes up when you're an adult.
Correct.
So when coming to your question that why aren't corporates coming up and are they actually doing it, or is it just a checkbook entry in the balance sheet? Is it just transactional? And I do feel that it is quite a few times, because if I reach out to people, they just cut out a check and give it to me.
Okay.
How many people would think that, okay, I gave it last year, shouldn't I give it this year too?
Keeping this in mind, do some of them come back and ask you as to what was the result? Do they come back and monitor sometimes and then take personal interest, or they just cut the check and it's done?
Yeah. So there are very few who would come back and ask,
Okay.
and they would actually ask, like Harsha asks me, what did that child do?
Alright.
If I helped out, how is that child doing? As the forum, we send out reports about the child, whoever they are helping out, that your child is doing this,
So you
and
have
this
a
is where it.
process in place.
I have a process at my end,
Alright.
but no, not many people ask.
Okay. How do you involve employees into the activities that your company takes up?
Yeah.
Either through the activities that you all take up, or if they want to do something aside personally.
Absolutely. So there are two things here. One is we have an annual event that we host for all the people whom we know, whether they are clients, prospects, or anybody who's a friend. And this is with a very passionate set of doctors called, they call themselves tuning folks.
Okay.
And we've been hosting this event every year. Again, the concept is that they would like to do it only for a cause.
Okay.
So again, autism stepped in.
So it's a one time.
It's a once in a year thing where so the entire team rallies around.
Okay.
All of us are reaching out to everybody and seeing to it that people do come in large numbers, and then come there and participate, and raise a sum of 10 lakhs is what is our target that we are trying to do.
So this is for the upcoming year in 2016.
This is Jan 17th is the marathon.
Okay.
So we are completely focused on that right now.
With the target,
the figures. So right now, no, we're not even at 50% yet.
Okay.
We hope to catch up soon.
Okay, tell me, you of course would be following news. Tell me a little what you think about when in the Companies Act, where the mandate has been there. What do you see as the obstacles after this mandate is there? And what do you think about the CSR regime that has yet to grow in our country?
So, if you have to look at the larger corporates that have been existing over the years, whether you name your Tatas or everyone, they never had CSR law or the mandate. They used to do it on their own. Each of our bigger manufacturing companies have always seen to it that they have completely uplifted the lives of all those villages or the states or the city itself, around the company. So, if I have to reply to what does this mandate do, and what are the hitches coming up, it is again going back to how does the company think about it, and how serious are they about it, and how morally they take it up about wanting to do this to give back.
Okay.
If 1,000 crore company and a 500 crore revenue, and then you start linking it to 2% has to be given out, then people start finding ways and means of saying, I did this and I did that and I did this.
Oh, yes.
And did I actually cut out a check?
So do you think for the same we need a monitoring body in place, someone legally there to monitor all the activities in place?
Yeah. So, if I have to try to equate that to what we do in the company, when you have to use a system of, say, punching in and coming in at a particular time into office, and then you punch and you leave, right? And then you stick to the thing and you say that, listen, if you're 10 minutes late, I cut half your salary, right? That's how typically corporate works, right? So at our end, we say, no, come when you want and go when you want. I need to see that you get your work done.
Absolutely.
You can work from home if you think you can. You can work on a Saturday, Sunday. You can work wherever you are. So the responsibility entirely rests on you. If I start monitoring you, you're not a child that I need to monitor. I don't believe in that philosophy. So this is what...
But see, the reason I was trying to put that to you is because a lot of corporates usually do not give up all the money, or there's, something
they don't
back under the table.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Then the reason that they come up with is, there aren't good enough projects. Of course, there aren't good projects because the mandate is just about 2 years old.
True.
So that's one problem. But then it's a certain amount of money has to go out. It just can't always be the top 5 spenders who are taking care of the whole
entire population.
That's
True.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Definitely there is a body required, but I would say that it's more about your own self, how you set process in place, how you feel about it. What you could have your own internal audit systems in place to know that am I doing what I'm supposed to do. rather than wait for the government to come and say, listen, cuff up, you've not done it.
Correct. What is CSR to you?
Yeah, so CSR would mean broadly that if every person who is drawing a check and is making some money for his or herself, would they think of giving a portion of it back to society?
Okay.
Can they do that?
All the very best to you. Thank you so much, Chitra, for speaking with us.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.